Greetings, family. This is Mustafaa Talks Tech, your digital marketing specialist and tech evangelist, coming at you again with another episode on the Mustafaa Talks Tech show. We have a very special guest on tonight, a brother who has done some amazing things in the digital platform world. I'm very honored to have him on. This whole show and platform is about putting that spotlight on individuals from our community who may not get enough recognition because of the world that we live in, who may not get their flowers while they live, who have certain expertise and knowledge bases that they may not be able to get all of the play that they need to express it. But as long as this platform is valid and going on, I'm going to search in our community and find those individuals who I believe are doing amazing things, but maybe others may not know of those amazing things that they're doing. So, with that said, we have an amazing guest, as I mentioned tonight, going to spotlight as another one of those great members of our community. About this guest, he has built multiple successful social media pages. He is an author. He is a motivational speaker. If you're connected on any of his pages, you're going to come away with motivation. If you was walking with your head hung down, when you finish on his page, you're going to pick your head up. If you was feeling kind of low that day, you're going to feel fueled up when you leave his page. So he's always constantly pumping a motivational word. He is a publisher. He's very proficient and able to help people get out there. He's a digital specialist, man. He's a great, amazing person in this whole world of digital marketing and building digital platforms and all of those things. So it is with my great excitement and pleasure to bring to the stage this evening Merch Life J. Bring him
Yes,
on.
yes.
Yes, sir. How you doing, big brother?
Everything is good, man. How are you?
I'm fantastic, man. I'm really excited to have you on the show this evening so that we can chop it up and break down and build on these digital realities and building these digital platforms. Before we get started, I just want to give my own personal testimony of how you helped me years ago, and you may not even know it. I
Man,
was checking you out on Instagram a couple years ago. You're doing your thing. And at that time, I was doing some other platforms and building. I had some YouTube pages I was growing. And I used to pay people to transcribe my YouTube videos into blog posts or posts and other things. And I heard you on Instagram one day. You was breaking down. Oh, you was breaking down how you could just go into YouTube and all of your words are transcribed, and all you got to do is copy and paste, and you're done. And ever since I heard that message, I ain't paid nobody 10 cents to transcribe nothing off YouTube. I did it because I learned from Merch Life J. So
yes,
I just wanted to get the testimony that years ago that you helped me see some things different and do some things different. So thank you for that, what you did on the Merch Life J platform.
that's fire, man. That's fire. That's great to hear, man. Like when you are impacting people and you don't even know it, it's so much more. It's so much more impactful for yourself when they tell you
Yeah,
later on. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like that's what keeps me going, bro. That's what keeps me going because you really never know who you
yeah,
impacting or who's gonna. You never know who you're gonna be in front of, man.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I got a few questions tonight, and what I try to do with my interviews, I try to frame them more of a discussion than an interview where I just question one, question two, question three. So
Yeah.
we're just gonna kind of flow and chit chat, but there's a few questions I'm gonna sprinkle in there, and then at the end I give you the floor of something we didn't touch. You can blaze the thing and break down whatever else we need to address, and then we do our thing. So just first up, if you will, for those that are not familiar, if you will break down the name Merch Life J, and how did you get into the digital world, and what motivated you to start your business and do what you're doing?
Well, all right. So the name Merch Life J, man. So merch actually, I coined the phrase merch life a long time ago. I think it was in 2012. And where that came from was my very first job, actually. My first job that I consider, talk worthy, right? I used to go door to door, business to business, town to town, even selling perfumes or knife sets or children's books or children's toys or whatever the company gave us at the time. And most of the time it was perfumes and colognes. But
Right.
that 4 years back to back of my life begat the term merch. And I used to call it the merch life because every day I would go outside, sell as much stuff as I could. I would go to sleep, wake up, and do the same thing the next day, right? And I was with a group of people that would do it with me. We had up to 40 guys in the office at one point. It was really not a job. It was really a lifestyle. Now, later on, in about 2018, is when the term begat more meaning, right? When I published my first book and I started to sell my book out of my bag, just like I would sell those products that they would give us on consignment, and then you only pay for what you sold at the end of the night. When I started selling my own products, the merch started to have its own acronym. And what Merch Life stands for is mastering excellence requires consistent hard work. I know hard work is 2 words, but get excited. And then life stands for living infinitely fun and excited. So we used to have a chant in the business where we talked about 9 to 5. We called them 9 to 5 smuts. And we talked about making $1 million. And we just talked about, being independent contractors. And that was the formal term. But
yeah,
our whole lifestyle revolved around merchant. So when I created the acronym, it came with more meaning because it was no longer just a lifestyle. It became an ideology. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at this point, it's more of some people call it a religion at this point. You know what I'm saying? But that's where the term merch life stems from. And the acronym again is mastering excellence requires consistent hard work, living infinitely fun and excited. I believe that if you want to live infinitely fun and excited, then you're going to have to master some type of excellence. And that's going to require consistent hard work.
Absolutely. And how did you get into the digital world? I know you say you was doing the door-to-door selling, and we know that with the explosion of e-commerce and social media and pages and things, that a lot of that old school selling has gone online. So, if you will, how did you transition from door-to-door knocking to now your website to website knocking or person to person, knocking online?
Yeah, well, the door-to-door was more so business to business, so I never really had to knock. I would go into McDonald's, pitch all the workers, pitch all the customers. I would go whatever is next door, But how I got into the digital world, right? 2019, the pandemic hit. And in 2019, I was at the top of my game. This was probably the best year I ever had merching to that day. I remember in September of 2019, I collected 7,500 with my own hand on Woodland Avenue. I used to hit Woodland Avenue so I don't know if you know how the city of Philadelphia is set up, but if for anyone that knows, I lived in South Philly. Southwest was literally a walk across a bridge, and I'm near. That walk got me pumped up because now I'm literally walking across a bridge and there's water below me and his car is going 60 miles an hour to the left of me. So on either side is an immediate danger, right? How can your heart rate not be not be high? How can you not be excited taking that walk, right? So once I got to where I was going, and I used to call Woodland Ave Money Lane because every day you would see the same people working at their jobs, but the customers were recycled, right? So I was at the top of my game when it comes to merchant, and I was doing it for myself. So it wasn't consignment. It wasn't take this bag and pay me after you sell it. It was you got to buy everything you gonna sell before you can even sell it. And to answer the question, I met Brother Ben X in 2019, and he introduced me to digital real estate. Now, I had already had sales skills. I had already had the gift of gab, if you will. My gift is communication. So I already knew how to talk to people, but I didn't know how to convey that energy into the digital space. And once it clicked in the year 2020 that what I was already doing, I could just do it online. Once he told me that, I didn't really understand it. But like I said, it clicked in 2020, and that's when I was able to just utilize basically the same thing. Excuse me, the same thing I was doing on the streets. I started to do on Instagram, and that's where it began. That's when I think in 2021 is when I hit 10,000 followers on my first page on Instagram.
Man. Yeah, definitely big shout out to brother Ben X, man. OG in the game, has really taught so many people game and showed them how to get online and make their platforms real and make their voices known and heard. I was looking at your Instagram page, and I was looking at it's almost 14,000 now. You're saying, yeah, I mean, you remember when you got to 10,000? I was looking at it right before the interview that you're sitting on almost 14,000. And that's an accomplishment. Some people would like to have even half of that, maybe a third of that. And I just want to ask you, in the context of, you're seeing a lot of them pulling back people's engagement in favor of trying to sell ads or boosting posts, where people are saying that it's getting harder to make their mark online and get those engagement from people. And just from yourself, as someone who has done it, what would you say to that person who may be trying to get on and find themselves struggling, or trying to post daily and not getting that engagement or marks? What would you say to that person that they can get to their 10,000 or whatever number they're looking for?
Well, I would ask that person, have you ever heard the saying, the grass is greener on the other side? They say that the grass is greener on the other side, but on the contrary, the grass is only greener where you water it at, right? So the grass, your 2,000 or your 200 followers, whatever it may be, can honestly make you more money or be more effective or more impactful than my 13.9K. And I say that because what I learned in 2022, when actually the end of 2021. Huh?
You broke up for about 30 seconds, so a lot of what you said, it was kind of screaming.
All right, my bad. So I'll repeat that. I said, so the saying goes, the grass is greener on the other side, right? On the contrary, it's actually greener where you water it at. I say that because you might have 200 followers, and I don't know what your goal is. People watching, you might want to make money, or you might want to make impact. Your 200 followers could literally get you more impact or more money than my 13K. And the reason I say that is because you have to nurture that grass that you do have. What I learned at the end of 2021, when I made a post about, the C word, I ain't gonna say that and have you banned as well. But when I made that post, I made a very serious post about not taking the needle or whatever. And they demonetized my Instagram. Then they did something that's called shadow banning, right? So I went from getting 30,000, 20,000 views to less than 100 on every post. Some of my posts are still like that. I'm monetized again, and they told me when I was monetized again. I actually made a whole post that had a campaign about it. But I say that to say the reason that I was able to still make money online when that happened was because I was nurturing the people that could see my content. So if it's 52, 53 people, if only 8 of them like it, I will literally DM those people and say, did you have any questions about what I said in this video? I would DM the video to that person. You have any questions about this? Is this something that I missed on this? Do you have any thoughts on this? And I started to ask those questions inside of my videos. So if you nurture your audience, no matter how big it is, you really only need that one person that because you could find one person that's going to give you 100K, or you could find 100 people that's going to give you 1,000, or you could break it up however you choose to, or however it happens. But if you nurture your audience that you do have, you don't need a large audience to make a large amount of impact or a large amount of money.
That's actual facts and facts. I mean, I heard a mathematical formula like this once. They said if you have 100 people on social media and that 100 people gave you $1,000, that would be $100,000 a year. Or conversely, if you have 1,000 people on social media that gave you $100 in a year, not a month, in a year, you would still reach $100,000 in that year. Just going back to what you're saying, that some people think you got to have 500,000, millions of people on social media to make it. But as you're, breaking down that, if you nurture that 200, that you can, come up and make a way for yourself.
Yup. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So with that, and people seeing that lowering of engagement, and they're maybe forced to try to boost or seek advertisement. So what would you say to them as far as just they're posting every day and you say I'm putting up videos, and what would be those actionable steps you would say to grow it?
In order to grow, man, I honestly to be 1,000% with you, if you're not in the market to spend or to invest, I should say, $3,000 a month, I wouldn't even run ads. Because you got to remember, you're competing with businesses. You're not competing with regular people. You're competing with businesses that literally get funding for this specific thing. So again, if you ain't got 3,000 to invest on ads, I wouldn't even waste my time spending money on ads. What I would do is organically grow my following and nurture those people that already. So a principle I live by that's in this book called The Science of Winning, right?
Okay.
If you want this book, just, I don't know, comment the word science and I will take care of you right after this call.
Is that you?
Yes, this is my book called The Science of Winning. So
okay, yeah.
In here, in the part about the 5 steps to the conversation, step number 5, step number 4, the rehash.
Ahead,
the rehash. Rehash stands for remember everyone has a sale hidden. So if you basically, what I'm saying is, if you got a person that bought something from you one time, the ice is already broken, the door is already open. If you add value to whatever you've already given them, or if you continue to add value to them in general, they will buy something from you again. So it's not even really a need to go out and get new leads or new people right away. Once you have your group, 10, maybe 5, whatever, nurture your audience, because when you do that, those same people will pay you for each step of the way to get to their goal.
Yes.
So they'll pay you to learn how to write the book. They'll pay you to learn how to edit the book. They'll pay you to proofread the book. And I'm using this example because this is one of my businesses as well. They'll pay you to publish the book. And then they'll pay you to print copies of the book. And then they'll pay you to teach them how to sell the book. And then you can sell them the book that teaches them how to sell the book. So you see that right there. That's 7 streams of income off of one business.
Right.
You know what I mean? So nurture, man. Nurture is the biggest thing if you want to grow financially or impactfully. You know, is that a word? I don't know, but I think it is now.
Sir. Yeah, we're gonna call it the Merch Life J word.
Yes, sir. I should create a dictionary. That'd be a good book.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And going into that, as I mentioned that you are a author and a publisher. I published my first book back in 2020. I did it in both paperback and digital, and I've been able to do that 4 times now since 2020.
Yes, sir.
And I remember back in the day, I've always had ideas to publish books like for the past 20 years, but back in the day, it was super hard, man. I mean, the kind of money you had to put out just to get started, to find an editor, to find someone to do the layout, to find some companies wanted you to buy so many books, hundreds of books, just to get them to print. That, it was so much of a deterrent where I was just like, I don't have that kind of upfront money. But we now live in a time where you have KDP and other platforms where you can print on demand, where all you got to do is upload that file, and all you're doing is just marketing going forward. Somebody can buy your book 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. You nodding over sleep. You don't even know what's going on. You waking up to sales. They printing it, shipping it, the whole 9. So the whole printing game has just really changed, and I'm seeing that that's something that you are involved in and leading in. So if you will tell us about your printing journey and how all that came about with coming into your first book and how you offering something to other people.
So all right. So is the question, how did I first publish my first book?
Yeah, if you will, like two questions. If you will, how did you publish your first book? That whole journey, and how did you get involved in starting to, giving back, helping other people who may say, hey, I got an idea, booking me. How did you get into helping other people get them out?
Okay. Yeah. So I gotta pay homage, and I just did this the other day. But every time I'm asked this question, I'm gonna do this, man. I gotta pay homage to Sister Valerie Love. If you look her
Okay.
up on Facebook, it's gonna be Rev. Valerie Love, or Kaisi on YouTube, man. Reverend Love, bro. Boy, when I tell you, so you remember the company I told you about that I started in when I used to go door to door, business to business. She was actually
Yes,
an
sir.
investor. She was actually an investor later on after I left the company in a separate similar company. I say that to
Wow.
say the guy that brought me into the company was
Hmm.
one of my best friends. His cousin was our manager. Our cousin's manager is Valerie Love's son. Valerie Love's daughter is now married to the guy that managed me and my best friend in that company. So this is all in the family, right? After the company
Yeah.
went it didn't go sour, but after I left the company, she came to me and told me on one of her YouTube lives that I happened to be watching. She said, "Oh, what's up, Merch? You know what you should do? Since you told me that you want to sell something that you created rather than something someone else made. Because remember, the whole object of the game was we don't work for people, we work for ourselves. The entire company culture was we not doing no 9 to 5, none of that. We work for ourselves." So she told me, she said, "Bro, if you don't want to sell something of someone else's, why don't you just make something of your own to sell? And I think you should do that with a book." She said, "You know the system that y'all use to sell stuff? Why don't you sell the system that you use to sell stuff?" And I said, "Yo, that's a great idea." And that was my very first book. Now, it was broken up into 5 sections because there are 5 parts of the system in the product that you see now. And this is one of my best sellers right here, The Science of Winning. Again, I always show this book because this is probably my favorite book that I've ever written.
Okay.
And she said, "Put the system in a book and you can sell the system that you use to sell because other people need to sell their products too." So that
Yes,
was
sir.
how we came up with our first book. And my man Easy Mac, the guy. So remember, I told you my best friend was my manager. The guy that managed us, he co-authored the very first um, version of The Science of Winning, and
Okay.
it was a 5-part series. We only made it to part 3 actually being published, but that's how I got into the publishing game in general. It was an inspiration from one of my mentors. Now, what turned it into a business, right? And this is and the key to my entire story
Yes,
is
sir.
the key to my entire success is taking what somebody taught you, applying it, and utilizing exactly what they told you to do in your own way, right? So remember, I told you somebody taught me the sales system. I learned the sales system, got really good at it. Valerie
Yes,
Love
sir.
told me, "You want to sell something that's yours? Put that system in a book because don't nobody own the system. It's just how to sell
Right.
stuff. Don't nobody own it. Ain't nobody else put it in a book yet. Why don't you do it? I put it in a book." That's how I made that's how actually that's probably how I had my first $1,000 month with my own hand was off of one of the original 5 books. Actually, now that I think of it, yeah.
Right.
So I mean, I've made $1,000 off my hand with the outside of with the company before, but that was with
Hmm.
someone else's product. First time I made $1,000 with my own product was that book. Now,
Yeah.
when I ran into Brother Ben and I got into digital real estate, now digital real estate costs about $2,000 right now.
Yeah.
I got in digital real estate before it even dropped. I was a part of the beta group. So this is early 2019. I'm talking about May of 2019. I paid
Yes, sir.
$150 for access to the entire digital real estate program.
Yes, sir.
And the day I paid 150, it was $37 the day before that. But I was
Wow.
procrastinating and I said, "Dang, it's 150 now." He was like, "Yeah, and it's going up to 447 next week." I was like, "Let me get that joint now." So when I got into digital real estate, I didn't have a digital product. I didn't have a digital service. But out of talking to me and finding out what I do and how I do what I do, he recommended that I just start a publishing company because I already was publishing books for myself. He said, "That's a service that I could use myself. That's a service that all these people in this group could use." And bro, I lie to you not. Maybe my first 10 or 12 clients came out of the digital real estate program. Other students that needed to publish a book, those people were my very first clients. So again, my story really revolves around getting around people that are doing what you want to do at a higher level and utilizing and applying what it is that they taught you. Valerie Love said, publish the book. I did that. Brother Ben said, turn publishing into a business. And I did that. And look at me now. You feel me?
Yes. Yes, sir. How many books have you published? I know you say you did a 3 in a series. Have you published other ones outside of that series, or
books that I've written or books that we've published in general?
Either or.
So I have published books that I have written myself. I have published 14 books that I've written myself to this day. 2 of them are official bestsellers. And a bestseller just means that you've sold 5,000 books within a 12-month period.
Wow.
That's what that means. So 2 of my books are bestsellers. And I've published to this day. I just published Young Kinda Don's new book yesterday. So to this day, we are at 102 books published with Merch Life Publishing.
Wow, man, salute to you, big brother. Salute to you.
Thank you, man.
You know, it's just, as I said before we was going to that point, it's just such a thrill to me to wake up or just get that notification that a digital book of mine has sold.
Yes, sir.
And I didn't have to have no hands-on with it, especially my digital ones. And everything's there. They pay that money, they go to download it, they can start reading it instantly on their phone, their tablet, their computer, however they will. And it's a good business and it's a good model. What would you say to someone who may say, hey, I like what your brother's saying. Hey, I think I got a book or 2 up inside me. I think I'm gonna go for producing multiple books. What would you say to that person as wanting to get into publishing now, where everything's a little bit more softer out there?
Well, they can always hit me up, man. If they want to just learn a little bit more, a free consultation, they can text the word book to 770-771-3841. I'm gonna put the number in the comments. I should have it where my name is, but I didn't do that. So if you want to tap in and calling me or texting me is absolutely free. 770-771-3841. I do a free 15-minute consultation. I do charge $45 for the rest of the hour, but you're going to get a lot of value in that 15 minutes for you to decide whether or not you want to go ahead with the rest of the hour. And then that's like my base level product right there, just me telling you what can be done, what's possible, and how to do that. Now I also have a 3-tier program. The first tier is called Tell Your Story. So the first tier is basically targets people that just got a story that they want to tell. They need to get it off their chest. A lot of trauma-based stories come from that program. People talking about what happened to them in their life or what's going on in their life currently. And then I got Poetry to Profit, where I use your words or your poetry, because a lot of people that write poetry, they got notebooks on notebooks on notebooks on notebooks, but they're not making no money off of all of that value that they've poured out their body, And I teach them how to package that so that they can market that, so that they can make profit off of the poetry that they wrote, whether it be yesterday or when they was in high school. And then my final program, which is pretty much the high ticket program, is called I Am the Author. And I Am the Author goes from the beginning to end. It actually teaches published authors or people that want to be published authors the whole entire spectrum of becoming an author, selling the book, getting speaking engagements for the book, putting the book in stores, putting the book online, and things like that. So yeah, just text the word book to 770-771-3841 and we'll get you started, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's something that's very, very dear to my heart, because we live in a time where this playing field has really been leveled with being able to get online. I believe that this smartphone is the greatest invention that's been created in the most recent time period, because with this smartphone you can literally start up a podcast. You can be in a little one horse town nobody can hear your voice in your own city, but with this smartphone, you can elevate your voice throughout the nation and the world. You know, with this smartphone, you can blog and reach people. You can YouTube, you can stream, you can do so much with this smartphone. And so, you know, this whole platform is just educating people on how much power you got in this smartphone as opposed to, you know, watching celebrity gossip or keeping up with the Will and Jada or keeping up who slapped who or street fighting. But it's so much power in the smartphone that you can become a digital god, become a digital creator, you know, out there. So what do you think about that? Just that power that people have in their hand of, you know, just really being a digital, creating a digital world.
I mean, I think it's absolutely amazing how, like you said, the times have definitely changed, bro. When I was a child, and I was born in 91. Okay. When I was a child, it didn't even cross my mind to be able to see someone that wasn't in the same room as me, right? Now, if you look 30 years or 20 years or even 50 years before that, it was impossible to even fathom talking to someone that wasn't in the same room as you, right? But, you know, phones were around. We had landlines. I used to be on the phone. I used to fall asleep on the phone. I remember I used to sing Tyrese Sweet Lady to this girl that I thought I was in love with in first grade. You know what I'm saying? And I used to get on my mom's nerves because she would pick up the phone trying to make a call. And I'd be like, Mom, get off the line. She'd be like, who are you talking to? You get off the line, you know? And it's crazy when you think back then, it was like, you know, to me, the internet was just, all right, can't nobody be on the phone. What is it? The AOL Messenger, you've got mail, and the little, little IM chat, and that's all the internet was for me. And then when I got a little bit older, it was MySpace, and MySpace was just staying in contact with people I just saw at school that day. You know what I'm saying? It was never about business for me. It was never Deepwater said first grade.
First grade.
What's up, King God? Yeah, but it was never about business. It was never about building an impact. It was never about, you know, anything that actually matters, that was actually important. And what I learned from being able to utilize these new technologies is that my grandparents, right, or my great grandparents, I don't know what they look like, bro. I have to go to one of my elderly family members' houses and flip through a photo album. Do you realize that my great grandchildren will be able to see how I interact with people? They will be able to look at me and say, that's where I get my mannerisms from. They will be able to look at me and say, yo, he talked just like me. I never even met Bull. That is amazing to me. That is mind-blowing to me because I don't know what my grandmother looked like at the age of 32. I have no idea. I don't even have a picture of that. My grandfather, he passed away when my father was 4. I never got a chance to meet him. But it's going to be different for the generation after us because, like I said, they can go on merchlifej.com right now and they can look at countless videos of me talking and giving game or whatever they want to see. And that's amazing to me, man.
Yeah, I remember we talking about back in the day. I remember how we used to do our Zoom calls. Like you say, we couldn't see nobody, but how we used to get everybody on the phone. I would have 3-way. I would call 2 people. They would have 3-way. They would call a few more people. Someone else would have 3-way. And we had about 7, 8 girls on the phone, 7, 8 guys, and we just jammed talking. Yeah, we had the party line going on. Where now, you know, you can do that Zoom call where not only I can hear 15, 16 people, we can see and interact. Oh, that what she looked like. Oh, okay. Okay, she ain't chapping. But, you know, the pandemic had, you know, sped up so many things of changes that were coming. That we saw in the pandemic when the churches and the mosques shut down, that everything went digital. You know, the sermon and the messages still went on. We saw how when schools shut down for the children, it just became remote learning. We saw how certain jobs, you know, shut down, that everything just went remote, that a lot of changes that were to come have not sped up. And now they're really literally in our face now, where you're forced to accept this digital world that we're living in. And people have to either, you know, swim or sink in the instance now of where we at with so much digital realities going on.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's is that a question or is that just a statement?
Just statement, just vibing on what you said, just putting that up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I think that I agree with you, man, because if you look around, right, just like someone I just was replying to their comment on that video I made about why I even say get excited. He said that, you know, things might not be created out of excitement. It might be necessity. And I say that necessity is excitement because whatever you're creating, no matter what you do, just like you said, even if it's out of necessity, you still have to be excited about the future that you want to create. So whoever first captured or coined this technology was excited about speaking and seeing someone that's not in the same room as them. They were excited. Yeah. Thomas Edison was excited about seeing at nighttime. You feel me? Yeah. He even though he had help creating a light bulb, he knew that there was a vision in his mind that he could not see in front of his face. You feel me? So I just commend people that are willing and able to step out and do something, even if it's not, different per se. I respect people that are willing to step out on a limb and do something that they have never done before, like writing a book, like coming out with a story. Yeah, I had to plug that real quick.
Go ahead, brother. It's my vision. I believe that everybody has a book in them, at least one book. Everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has went through some trauma or had a good moment, something that they achieved. And, that's a story. And I heard once, your story is somebody else's medicine that you don't even know about. That somebody, can be inspired by your whole testimony and story. And, those, one thing about books, digital or physical, is I always like to say that how many books are we reading that someone wrote hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago? They're dead and gone. But in present time, that we're still learning and reading from the wisdom that they wrote down hundreds of years ago, 1,000 years ago. So that's just something that I like to put on people's mind, that you can literally have eternal life, if you will.
Yes, sir.
Where flesh may go away, but the wisdom that you put in the words, you don't know who you can inspire 100 years from now or 1,000 years. Like you say, somebody can be reading Merch Life J book 100 years from now and learning your principles and your secrets. And oh man, this brother was deep. This brother was fire, man, 100 years ago. Merch Life J, you don't even know what's going on. You done went back to the ground. So that's just the power of being able to be a published author and put your works out there. And that's why I just really wanted you to be on here to, speak to people in that power that, man, you can have eternal life, man. You can be here forever, in a sense, through your books and your writings.
Yes, sir. I actually teach that, man. I actually teach that eternal life means, you having something, and it doesn't mean because your body is finite. We all know that your body is finite. You come to my house right now and throw a grenade in here and I blow up, my body gonna die. But Merch Life J, that energy will never die. Why won't it ever die? Because you would have to go online and scrub every video with me in it. You know how long that's going to take you to do that? You would have to go delete every file of every book I've ever published. Good luck with that. You're going to have to go burn every book that I've ever sold. It's not possible to kill me. You can't. I'm immortal. You understand? So my actual logo, the symbolism behind it, begats eternal life. I don't know if you know about the 369 method, but there are 9 principles of merchology. And merchology is, like I said, a religion. It's what I live by. I will explain merchology at another date because that's going to take a minute. I don't want to keep you all night, bro. But the 369 method, once you get to the 9, the next thing is eternal life. I don't know if y'all know what that unk means, but that unk means eternal life. And that's why this emblem is on my best-selling book. That's why this emblem is my logo, because I literally teach people that when you become an author, when you create digital real estate, when you do the things that I'm doing, and you do it in your own way, of course, you are an immortal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If there was someone, you say you're gonna break down merchology another time.
I mean, I could break it down.
if you'll give us just, if you will, give us a synopsis of it, if you will, or however deep
Sure.
you want to go with it.
Yes, sir. All right, so basically, pull out my planner right here for you.
Go ahead, black man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So basically, it's the evolution, man. It's the evolution, right? So the 3 in the merchology, it's like I said, it's 9 principles. The first 3 is the mind, the body, and the spirit. Remember, merch stands for mastering excellence, requires consistent hard work. So if you don't master the mind, you cannot control the body. Now, the spirit is what controls the mind, and the mind is what controls the body. But you, as the spirit, you, not Mustafa's body, not who I'm looking at, but the spirit that lives within that body, the particle of God, the part of you that I call God, which is your spirit, because that's the only thing that, that's what's connected to our creator, right? That's what, when he say he created us in his image, that's the part he's talking about. He ain't talking about physically, because God is not physical. If God was a physical being, he'd be standing in his room walking around right now. He's not a physical being. This is what I believe. This is my ideology. So
yes, sir.
The spirit must learn to control the mind. Everything around us attempts to control our minds at all times. We see at least 20,000 advertisements every day. So they want to control our minds because they want to make money off of us. They might have a different agenda, but that's a whole nother podcast, right? So the body must be controlled by the mind, because the spirit has to control the mind. The mind must control the body, right? And that's the holy trinity, what I call the holy trinity of merchology. What is the first three principles? When you see that 3, and look, this is the very first time I ever wrote it down. This paper is ripped and tore up, but this is the very first time I ever channeled this during meditation and wrote this down. And I wrote this down without looking at the paper, bro. That's how powerful this piece of paper is to me. So the 6, right? The 6 stand for mind, body, spirit, but it also stands for the merch, the vehicle, and its destination. What is the merch? The merch is whatever value you provide to the public, whatever, because I believe that a man's mission in life is to find out what his purpose is, why he is here, and for him to render that to the world. Because if you're not, we all know, if you're not providing value, then you ain't really nothing. And I want to say a different word. I want to say the poop emoji, but I ain't going to curse on your podcast. If you're not providing value, then you ain't really, you mean? So the merch, the vehicle, and the destination, your merch is what value you're providing. Your vehicle is how you're getting it there. And your destination is where you're getting it to, right? The merch, the vehicle, and the destination. That's what the 6 is for. Mind, body, spirit, merch, vehicle, destination. And then the 9 is mind, body, spirit, merch, vehicle, destination, but it's also the system, right? So the system that you use to get your merch on its vehicle to that destination. And then the duplication, which is number 8, the duplication of the system, because when you create a system, you want to be able, the only reason you're creating the system is so someone else can follow behind you and utilize that system in order to get their merch on its vehicle to their destination.
Yes, sir.
Hence the system that I put in this book right here.
Yes, right.
So the last one is the teach part. So you got mind, body, spirit, merch, vehicle, destination, system, duplicate, and teach. Teach is the 9th principle of merchology, because you are not ready to teach anything until you have mastered it yourself. And I also believe that simultaneously, you cannot master anything until you're ready to teach it to someone else. Because every time I teach someone something, I relearn it myself.
Fact.
Did I not have to go over that same information to regurgitate it? So every time I teach, I'm also learning. So remember, I said, in order to teach something, you have to first master it, but you can't master anything until you've taught it to someone. Now, that might sound crazy or dumb to some people, but when you get to this level of merchology that I'm on, it makes sense to you, man. So that's the 9 principles of merchology right there. Get excited.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I wanted you, I was prodding and hoping that you would break that down. Yes, because when I do these interviews, man, there is much education for the public as it's to answer my own curiosity, just things that I want to know or things I want to learn, And I just wanted you to really, break that down because, like you said, I mean, that's like a religion. I mean, you broke that down that, religion is a way of life,
Mhm.
and the way you broke that down, that's a way of living, a way of being, a way that you can put into action and practice and make, things come into reality and fruition for yourself. So, I salute you for just that, having that amazing mind to even, come up with that and the way broke down the logo and the symbolism and the science of it. And I can hear the passion, the excitement behind, what
Yes,
you're
sir.
saying that, this is this is real life for you. This, this is the real
Yeah.
deal.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate that, bro. It took me a while to be confident in myself enough to do that because, I'm surrounded by religious people all the time, and they have their books, they have their ideologies, and they have, and before merchology even became a thing, I practice omnism. And I don't know if you know what omnism is, but I'm going to explain it real quick. Omnism is the study of all religion and the belief that there is truth in all religion and the ignorance of the lies in religion, right? Because, they say religion is a form of control and they say all the negative things that they say about religion. We don't even associate or entertain those things. We take what the good is out of it and we utilize that part for ourselves. So if I can apply a left jab in boxing, but
Yeah.
a right hook doesn't work for me in the fight that I'm fighting, then I'm gonna leave the right hook where it's at and I'm gonna just use the jab. But if I can apply maybe a roundhouse kick in jujitsu, but I can't use the grappling hook or the grapple in jujitsu, then I'm gonna leave the grappling where it's at. And that's what you do when it comes to merchology. You take what's good or what's useful or what's valuable out of what you've studied and you apply that until it's time for you to need something else,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So if someone wanted to get connected with you, I think we put everything in the comments.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I'm seeing a lot of people definitely vibing on with you and saluting you on and carrying on. And a few people I think say got ideas for books that they want to reach out to you. So hopefully they after the show that they will reach out to you and start their own journey and become that published author.
Yes,
As
sir.
we get ready to land the plane, the thing that we didn't touch on or I didn't ask that you think is critical that you want to put out there that you want people to know about yourself, Merch Like Jay, the publishing, just anything that we didn't touch on.
Listen, man, I think we did pretty much touch on a lot, but well, I mean, we touched on the publishing community. If there's anything that I didn't speak about that you want to hear about, y'all can ask a question. If my brother doesn't mind, y'all can ask a question in the comments real quick. And I mean,
Yeah,
I'll
please.
take three. I'll take three if you if y'all got any questions.
Let me check right quick. We streaming on 3 platforms and then yours. So let me just check on my end and see if there's anything out there in the comments. Not
Yes,
yet. Everybody just bigging you up, brother. Just feeling it and liking what you're saying.
yes, sir.
Well, I just want
to.
yes, sir. Well, I just want to continue to big you up as my fellow digital creator and digital platform builder. And as I said when I opened that, you know, all of the brothers and sisters that are out there doing big things in digital, they're still my teachers as well. That I may not always say it or they may not always know, but I'm always picking something. Like you say, we pick the best of what's out there. If a brother show me how to do a good jab, I'm gonna learn that from Merch Like Jay. If a sister teach me how to do the hook, I'm gonna learn that from the sister. Someone
Yes,
teach me the roundhouse, I'm gonna learn that roundhouse. So I just want to continue to just salute you for what you're doing, and I just was an honor to just want to bring you onto the platform so that people who are my audience or my ecosystem can become aware of you and just the respect that I have for you and the things that you have accomplished and the things that you will accomplish. And maybe some may have been on the edge of their seat wondering, how do I bring out a book or how do I get a platform going there? This is the man that you want to talk to right here. That's the bottom line when I brought him on the show. That this is the man that you want to link to right here. Check out the comments. and link up with our brother Merch Life J. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I just want to thank you for having me, man. And this was a really good talk. And you know, I'm gonna clip this up. I'm gonna put it on different platforms. You know, get the like we said, get the best parts, and you know, apply those to the rest of the. And I do want to say this because we didn't really touch on how to build a platform or how to build a personal brand. You know, and I've done that 9 times now. I've done that 9 times now. Even
You
on
want to touch on that?
Yes, sir. Even on TikTok, man, I just want to say, like, when you're building a platform, now that we have things called trends, and we got those hashtags that go viral or whatever like that. You want to first keep in mind that your individuality is what makes you unique and what makes you awesome and great, right? There is no matter what you do, you could go back in time and resurrect every dead person that has ever lived on the face of the earth. And then you can take all 8 billion people that are here right now, living and walking around. There is not one person that got the same fingerprint as you. Not one. Not one person. So utilize that uniqueness. Utilize what makes you different. Don't shy away from it, because the book say, your gift will make room for you. Right. And if you don't believe in that book, then just believe what Merch Life J is saying. When you be yourself. Oh, what's happening? My camera went off.
You froze up for
Can you see me?
I can't see you, but we can still hear you.
All right. Yeah, see, this message too fire. Facebook, like, no.
It is,
but
it is. But we still gonna come through. We can still hear you though, brother.
Yes, sir. So I was saying that you always just be yourself, man. And when you be yourself, man, that's when you're gonna get the best out of life. That's what I wanted to say.
Yes, sir. Someone asked, what are all of the platforms you're utilizing?
Man, everything from so the big 3, of course: Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. It looked like my camera is unplugged, but I'm using the webcam. So how is that? But yeah, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I'm definitely using TikTok again. I was completely banned from there, but they let me back on.
Yeah.
So yep. Anywhere that you use social media, just type in Merch Life J and you'll see me.
Okay. All right, big brother. Well, with that being said, we're creeping up on an hour, man. I really appreciate you coming on to the show and just blessing us with the wealth of your information and your experience and your game and your rules and everything. And again, I'm just encouraging everybody that's listening right now and may pull this interview up on my YouTube or any other of my channels in the future to definitely link up with Merch Life J, just like he said, whatever platform you're on, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, there's a way to link up with Merch Life J, and definitely link up with him and see what he's talking about and how he can help you go to the next level. So with that, big brother, we'll go ahead and conclude everything. Thank you so much, man, for coming on the show, big brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, bro.
Yes, sir. You have a good evening, bro. Well, thank you, family, for tuning in again to another episode of the Mustafaa Talks Tech Show. Again, shout out and thank our guest, Brother Merch Life J, for coming on. If you found some value in this interview, you know, the beautiful thing about modern technology, that this information is not for today, just for today, that you can go back on my YouTube page, you can go back on my social media, you can go back on his pages, and you can pull this interview up and listen to it again. And if there's a point that, hey, what did he say about that? How did he break that down? You can actually go back and listen to it again. You can contact our dear brother, as he said, on all of the social media channels that he gave, and, you know, learn from the wealth of his experience and his information and move yourself forward. If you're watching me on Facebook and we're not connected by chance, connect with me on Mustafaa Talks Tech, my channel there. If you're watching me on LinkedIn, it says, and we're not connected by chance, go ahead and follow me and connect with me on there. If you're watching me on YouTube and we're not connected, you know, please like, subscribe, share the information on the page. I got many other interviews with other giants like Merch Life J that's dropping knowledge and information from all different aspects of tech and digital marketing, digital platforms, cybersecurity, all type of information. And it's, it's all coming from our community, just showing that, we are giants, we are great, we have so much information among us. So definitely check us out on all of the platforms and subscribe to us. And with that, I thank you for tuning in this evening to hear our brother Merch Life J. And we'll see you again on another episode of the Mustafaa Talks Tech Show. Peace.